This is Dragon Force for the Sega Saturn. I'll be playing the campaign under Gongos, the 8 monarchs you have your choice of in the game. And I'll be using the debug code, so there's various things that are popping up throughout here, most of which are irrelevant to us, but the debug code allows us to really break this game open and do all kinds of crazy things. So naturally, that's what I want to do. So to get our first taste of what the debug code enables for us, I'm going to come out here to Debug Menu, and we're going to force Domestic Affairs. By doing this while holding the X button on the Sega Saturn controller, we are given all kinds of good stuff. Star Dragon Amulet is an endgame item that we should not have this early, but we do. Not Samurai. That was actually the wrong one. I wanted Flying Crest. Okay. Estia statue, and then Bravery, and Honor coins for boosting stats. Then awards. Okay, we're gonna want a lot of troops, so I guess it's gonna get a bunch here. Game has multiple things available to us, but most of which we're not that worried about right now. Do want to particularly set up for this over here. So yeah, we're going to want Cat to have cavalry available. I'm going to go back to Domestic Affairs. And also there'll be situations where I'm going to want mages instead, so we'll take her up to 50 there. Every Domestic Affairs you can either search or fortify. I'm going to choose to fortify because I want the higher level castle if I can get it. And then of course in Domestic Affairs you can save. So that's done. Yeah, we're going to see about actually putting an army on the field. First things first, we're going to want Gunner to come to us. Technically we're supposed to go to him, but who has time for that? So every campaign, whichever you start, they'll give you some kind of rival right at the beginning to deal with. It's kind of a working tutorial, gets you used to the game, the controls. how things work. Plus, it gives you a pool of starting generals to start with, and then you can take them out to try and conquer the world with. Now, I am not supposed to have 100 troops or dragons this early in the game, but I do. So we're going to use that to decimate enemy armies as quickly as we can. So you can see we've got the life meter at the top of the screen that tells us how we're doing in the battle, and this is a bit of a route. Your power meter down there is when you can use magic skills, subject to your maximum magic points, of course. You gain skills as you level up to 3 per general. Some generals don't get 3, but generally speaking, that's what you get. Okay, so they're attacking with a breach formation. I'm going to go around them as much as possible because, again, I want to get to the enemy commander and kill them as quickly as I can. Cross Slash is a skill I'm able to do. It just attacks the enemy commander, and there's a little bit of damage in there. As you can see, the troops that I have right now make this very, very one-sided, which is fine for us. Not so good for Riker, but hey, that's Picard's problem when you think about it. It's General number 2. So out of everybody we have right now, which obviously is not that many people, we only start with 5, but we only are worried about Gangos leveling up. And we want to get him to level 25 as quickly as we can, and then we're going to be able to go to the end game. So it is a very colorful game. Came out on the Saturn, so like many titles, got unnoticed. Kind of wonder what might have been when you consider another Saturn RPG was Suikoden, which was dual released to the PS1 and went on to much better success. So we have Gunner, who is the boss of this little ragtag group. While you're using a general's skill, typically the units won't attack, the exception being archers and mages. So sometimes you can use that very much to your advantage. And in particular, it can let my army just skip right past his army and go attack him like I wanted it to. Alright, I think one got away. Nope, we got them all. Now I need to change Cat's units out first. And just time ticking away will refill your troops. Depending on your castle's level, you'll get more faster. Alright, we're going to go in here against Lighton Castle. This is where Xanon is. He starts at level 11 with 50 troops, so he's significantly stronger than anybody around us. but we are going to... Okay, cat will be fine, just hopefully they don't give me the mages. They gave me the mages. Dispersing sends your army out to the edges of the screen, which is going to duck the fireballs that they're attacking us with. And I did offensives so that I have 20 of them hanging back to absorb fireballs that are now not hitting cat. Alright. That's a Thunderfall, which is going to attack random places in my army. But now Yuri has no more magic, so we'll drop the hammer. Send in the soldiers, take out all of Yuri's troops. Offensive formation, you're bold. Not smart, but bold. Let my dragons get an initial hit against his because they're so much stronger. So very dynamic music for this game. I'm very sorry that my setup didn't let me record it properly right now. I don't have the right input for video capture. But an absolute fantastic soundtrack that's why I'm playing it in the background, so that it still gives the full feel of the game. If you outnumber your enemy by enough, they'll always stay in a defensive stance. They won't advance their troops. They'll make you come to them, because there is a bonus for being on defense. In Gunter's case, it's just not significant enough to matter. If Gango's had more HP, I would stick with him here. Riker should be able to get us there. So although this is very much in the classic category of games being a 90s era, it has a Sega Saturn title, so not a lot of love in the speedrunning community. In fact, that's only been started to be developed recently, like the last 2 months at time of recording. Specifically, even there is no leaderboard currently for debug. This is going to take more than one person because Xanon is extremely powerful. Super Boss might be overstating what he is, but not by a lot. He will only take 1 damage per hit. Whatever the hit, whoever gives it, he will only take 1 damage. So when you talk about an enemy having 100 HP and only taking 1 damage per hit. That's not a lot. As far as troops go, since I haven't touched on this yet, it very much follows a rock, paper, scissors style. So in this case, I brought in the beasts because they are strong against the cavalry, and they took out all of Xanon's troops for me. We're going to retreat because Riker is not going to be able to handle this. If I absolutely must, I will do a timeout to force a draw, which will still count as a victory for me. But Xanon is a tough cookie. Right now he is far and away the strongest general that is on the board, and normally you wouldn't necessarily fight him, or you would do it much later. All these troops, they can only hit him for 1 damage at a time. Alright. It's going to be clearly faster to go ahead and do the timeout instead of actually fighting him. Plus, I'll conserve troops. I was measuring what we would get. Gango's got a few wins here. He defeated a lot of enemies. So, we want to see him getting levels. Every time we finished a battle like this, we want to see Gangos has gained levels. Now, Xanon's army will not be defeated, and they will keep coming back. So we're going to leave. Because actually, we kind of want them to do that anyways. Send everybody back to Bozak Castle. And then the starting people that they gave you to deal with, they're now going to go ahead and join. So you have yourself a little bit of an army. I don't think I have anybody here. Yeah, nobody's there who can actually fortify Bozak, so we jumped from 3 to 6 in 1 round. That's pretty good. Alright, they're not going to accomplish anything. Well, they can go back to their regular castle. So one of the things that the debug can do is you can do a force mark and send people where you want them to go. Generally speaking, what I'm going to do is let everybody else fight over the world, and I'm just going to worry about my little corner of it here. And you already got into a fight, so you're not going to have a whole lot here. In fact, you're going to run away. Silly you. Let's switch Cap to Mages. I think I like the feel of that better. Change classes of your troops as long as you have unlocked those with specific crests, like I've done for these classes. Now, I need them to have troops. So it's going to take us around for them to have troops back. Skull Children are going to show up every round. You either get the Gaspar and his friends, or you get Pain and Agony. And then when you've captured people, you can give them an audience and a chance to join you. And that's what happened. Still. Yeah, did that refill your troops like I was hoping? We got a few troops refilled. Good enough that I'm gonna go for it. You always want to leave one of your main commanders in charge of a castle if that's an available option, and in my case, I'll just always leave one behind. Your monarch will automatically be the leader of the castle if they're in it. And they're all just going to be crazy up there, which suits me just fine. The more crazy they are, the more they're not bothering me. Alright, so they refilled all their troops. Which is fine. I'll do an offensive formation so that I have a little bit behind for anything that slips through. You can manually move the camera, you can automatically move it around. There's fun settings like that you can do. Even though this says manual, it's largely automatic, the movements you're going to see. Like it will follow a spell. Boom, baby, boom. That's okay, it's not going to be significant enough to hurt us. This little castle here always starts with these same generals, and their storyline is more or less the same. You can't defeat them until the end game. Which for me is going to make things significantly faster as a leveling point, because then I can just worry about this one army. Alright, so we're going to be trading shots, fireballs for arrows. They'll keep firing while I use my spell. But if we get the general damaged enough, she'll retreat. That's a summon wyvern, which targets the enemy commander. she's going to go ahead and retreat, so perfect. Unfortunately, with mages and archers, I don't have as many good armies to beat up with Gongos as I would like. So Cross Rush is Gongos' second skill. It actually attacks the enemy army as well as the commander. Yuri just doesn't have a lot of defense or hit points, so we're going to do a lot of damage. So Thunderfall can be a really powerful skill if it's used against a cluster of enemies. However, because mine are spread out, it's very ineffective. And my dragon's got to beat up a bunch of mages. Send Ryger into timeout here. That's all he needs to do for me. Xanon is a very powerful general, so even though I've got the troop advantage, he's still doing significant damage to me. Bringing out his Thunderfall, which is unfortunate because now I'll have to retreat. Well, that's just how strong he is. And that's why magic points have to be limited in this game. You could just go crazy with them otherwise. Alright, now he can't hit me anymore. And he can only hit things one square in front of him or behind him. But if I'm 2 squares away, I can just throw these fireballs without him bothering me. So we'll drain his health for the remainder of the time, but I'm not going to have nearly enough time. These are only 1 in 4 to hit. I'll revise this a little bit because we need to be getting Gongos into more fights. He did level up to 7, but again, we're looking for 25, so keep that moving in the right direction. You can see enemies moving on the screen, but notably is that doesn't necessarily tell you how strong or weak an entire formation of that army is. They will always have the overworld sprite of their monarch. I don't have any captives right now. Importantly, we got gun goes to 7. Alright, we're gonna let them take that castle, and then I've got better plans for them. Normally the troop numbers are not this high in the early game, but they've been inflated based upon mine, which are really high this early in the game. You don't have anybody yet. They'll not refill troops unless they can refill a general to full. So if the general can have 50 and you've only got 45, they won't give them 45. They'll wait until you have 50. Okay, unfortunately a lot of extra dialogue there. That was just bad RNG because everybody wanted to get in a fight. I just want Gongos to get into a fight. Changing up things a little bit and having them come to me because this is going to give me a steady stream of fights to put Gongos in faster. This is Resurrect, which allows you to get troops back. It can be a very powerful skill when used effectively. Seagal is not going to have a lot of luck using that against me. And he's captured. He has an enemy commander, so he won't actually even have a chance to join. He's just going to sit in my dungeon. And that's just fine. I'm gonna fight, refill troops, do it all over again. Everybody's too eager to fight. Now this is Samurai, so they actually defend very well against dragons. But mages defend very well against Samurai. So all that time they couldn't do any damage against me. Alright, we're going to go ahead and advance and take Sayaka out as quickly as we can. And I think we get the setup. Well, just missed it. That one's 3 instead of 2, but good enough. Able to hit from both sides. So double the damage output and the fight faster. The more that we can do, the better. Everybody's too eager to fight today. Okay, I am sending him out of this castle so I don't have to do that again. Now, although the samurai are strong against dragons, it's still a chance for Gangos to get into a fight, and I'm going to take that. Because I can replace troops really easily, and only Gangos' level matters right now. I just used Cat in the other fight because of how many samurai there were. And it does actually help to get Cat to level 9. She is useful. She is one of the most useful generals in the game. Right, we're gonna take a quick breather here. And queue up some commands. You're not gonna be able to get there. You've got Presto, let's get him out of the way. Well, that was a little bit of a mistake on my part. Oh, there's Skull Children again. Or, actually I think that one's Pain and Agony. Skull won't join. And Castle levels up by 2. Okay, kind of goes to 9, so obviously we're moving this in the right direction. I need to move you to somewhere more out of my way. So, go there. Well, click too fast. That's okay, one of those doesn't bite me too much. While we're paused, we can enter commands at our leisure, and nobody else is going to do anything, so it's a good deal. Got a lot coming in hot. So I'm using these dragons as a shield that Gangos doesn't lose too much HP. I'd like her to go ahead and use her magic. We'll see if she cooperates. She will. Fantastic. That takes care of that. Every time you have a battle at a castle, you run the risk / will lower its level. Which is why I'm going to put such a premium on fortifying. Now that I think about it. No, not Gangos. Norse needs to go. Gunner needs to go. To send them out there because I don't want any more battle messages from them. No, we're gonna just use Gangos. That was a tempting thought. Dragons are a very powerful troop, and I have definitely already built up Gangos' power. Shiva's Dagger is a skill that limits your ability to cast magic. It reduces your meter. It's one of a few that will do that. It can be an effective tactic, but it won't be against me at this point. Bring in a raid formation. So a raid formation, they have the big line of defense up front, and then that squad will try and scoot around the edges of the screen and attack me. You can probably guess how well that's going to work out for them. So Pain and Agony are these enemies who just show up, and they make a beeline for your commander, or at least as close to a beeline as they're able to. But they come for you. And they give these hints about being immortal, because they'll respawn after you've defeated them. And it says they seem to have been slain in the melee. That's the message for somebody was killed. Okay, Gangos is already up to 9. Did I forget to actually send that guy out anywhere? No, you don't have a chance. Okay, I'm going to have to really reduce the number of people that I have in here. Okay, guy goes to 11 actually. So all 3 of his skills unlocked. This is Bardal. Now, this brings up an interesting point, which is there's several of these general types. They're actually... How do I describe this? They're a storyline-specific generic character. So, Bardal is a mage. He's just one of them that are out there that you can use as a mage general. But they actually give him a story. So he's a bard. And there's little flashes of that come up as he's in combat, depending on the messages you see. You Find out that, yes, he is a singer, he's a bard, etc. Fun stuff like that. Yeah, it's one of the things they do just to give this game that extra bit of depth. So even one who's a generic character, not one of the main commanders or anything like that, still has a little bit of story, a little bit of depth there. No, I don't want Uni, Riker, Silva, Norse. You need to go over there. How many do I have over there now? Yeah, I don't know how you did that, but I really need you in a less intrusive place. Kumama 60 Samurais. He is a very powerful dude. I'd say he's one of the top 10, not necessarily freelance, but freely available generals. If you capture him, you can recruit him. Skydriver is our strongest attack, but you can see it drains all of his meter. So basically you're only going to use that once a battle, but because of the dialogue, I only want to use it once a battle anyways. So that works out reasonably well. Just want to keep that EXP gravy train coming. As long as we can, as much as we can, all the experience. This time we'll do cross rush because we'll take out a few of their troops as well. Nice quick fight. Just the way we like them. Easy, frequent, lots of kills. All the experience for Gangos. Sent a bunch of mains that I don't want to deal with. So let's get you out of the way. Okay, we gained another level. Or gained one back. I believe Gruder will join. Oh, he will. Let's go on that. That's about raising Gruder's intelligence. Oh, never mind. Too low. We can bring it up a good bit, but not that much. Hilga we could bring up enough, actually. So even though he has mages, we're just going to go ahead and attack. He'll pick off my numbers, but we'll get plenty through. Numbers are easily replaced. And my troops are fast enough on doing damage that I'm not going to use any spells. Let me see what else I can get out of Azumo. Nothing. Okay. Dane is an excellent choice to come attack us. Go ahead and do a Skydriver. That's probably going to take out half of Neil's hit points. Did. Yes, in fact, this is a Japanese game. Thanks for asking. There was a sequel that was done in Japan. It was never released in the US, although I think it is available on the PS4 store currently. There's incoming there. Get a few more attacking there. Another one attacking from there. This is the very early days of speedrunning this game, so there will be more routing and more time saves going on as we go. But this should be a solid representation of a marathon safe route. Because Kamam has Samurai, I'm not able to use Gangos effectively against him. And they're about to shred my mages here. Okay, good. Now I've got them surrounded. I'm out of range of them being able to hit me. That was a big old bolt of lightning in my background. And that would be the sound effects of the game playing now. So I thought Cat was going to be able to hold out there. Didn't happen, unfortunately. But Gungos will still get a win here, so we'll be fine. The bad news is we have Cat injured. The good news is we're going to be able to get her back really quickly. I do need to get somebody out of here, though, so Bagheeb, why don't you go ahead and go? So all these little spells, all these little attacks, they have their own sound effects, and that's what's playing now. Very, very dynamic and full soundtrack to this game. I need them to get some troop numbers back. This is what I was looking forward to. We've got Dane. Dane's got a bunch of monks. A bunch of monks mean a bunch of experience for me. So, risk of repeating myself, I'm playing the OST in the background because my current setup I don't have the ability to record the audio, but I do have a fully functioning Sega Saturn and game that I am able to bring to a marathon with me. This still is a fair representation of what a playthrough of the game looks like, and the OST is obviously a fair representation of the sound. Guy goes at 15 now. That actually is close to the theoretical minimum. No, I don't want to mess with samurais. It's the only thing I don't want to deal with. I got a bunch coming in this next round. Let's take items. Cat. I'm going to use an item on Cat called an Astia's Herb, which is going to bring her back to full health. And all's well. Okay, excellent. We got Kamam. Now, we need Kamam to have 70 intelligence, and then Hilga should be close. that's not really close. But now we got two people who can fortify instead of just one. Obviously not always going to be successful. 13-15, still making progress. Unfortunately, they're out there with a mind of their own, not waiting for me to give them orders, and doing things in a way that is not beneficial to me getting experience. So Zatanna is a zombie, commanding zombies. They give you a sample of a few of these. I believe the game refers to them as immortals throughout the game. So there's Santana, there's Ryle, who's a vampire, there's Gig, who's a dragon, and there's a few others along the way, but those are the three you can see right at the start of the game, typically. Commonly, they have the resurrect ability, so this is a lot more troops for me to fight, which is fantastic news. Make sure I get them all. Cat refilled. Also, the reason for keeping troops on everybody else is so that they have them to give back if I need them. I can release the troops and then recruit them with the Gangos, who's the only one who really needs significant numbers. So on a casual playthrough, your first time, it wouldn't be strange to be above 20 hours of gameplay. Just the time it'll take to explore, to figure out your strategies, things like that. Really, 20 would be low. But between the 20 and 30 hour mark of casual gameplay, once you know what you're doing, probably more like 14 to 16. The current speed runs, best times out there, are just under 5 hours. But they're very specific, and with other monarchs you can only do something closer to 8 hours. Just because of specific requirements of them. This is going to be a good example of, I'm going to let troops go so that I can recruit them with Gangos. And that'll be enough. Well, actually, I think you've got 2 generals here, so okay, you go ahead and release yours too. Because I think I sent 2 generals with this fight instead of just 1. We're up to 17. This is wonderful progress on Gangos' levels so far. So we can basically break our objectives down into 3 categories. One is get Gangos to level 25. 2, we're going to execute events via the debug code. And then 3, we have to do the final shrines. Which requires having all 8 members of the Dragon Force that the game is named for. That is actually the mission of the game, is assemble the members of the Dragon Force to defeat the Dark God, Madark, who is trying to destroy the world, because that's what he does. So obviously we want to save the world. We like it, it's where all our stuff is. If we don't save the world, we at least want to save one continent. You know, solid one continent out of the world, we'll take it. Alright, a couple more generals defeated. Got Pain and Agony on their way. Oh, you're coming for me too. That works out fine. Thank you, game. Sorry I doubted you. Just real quick, make sure I'm full on troops. I was not. Glad I double checked. Pause is very powerful. Obviously it slows you down because nothing is moving, so you're not advancing the game. But it makes the game very approachable for a casual player because you can always stop, you can take your breath, you can really plan out your moves. Also, the game is paused anytime you're in a menu, so you don't have to necessarily pause it for every action, but like while you're in the middle of recruiting, they're not going to advance and kill you or anything like that. Pain and Agony are going to keep coming back and coming back and coming back. In a normal run, you would honestly want to get rid of them because they're time consuming. For my run, where I'm not having to actually conquer the world, they're to my benefit. Because, again, you see that number next to Gangos' name just keeps on going up. We're up to 18 now. I use Cross Rush against this formation because it punches a little hole in the middle, and then I'm getting more dragons to the general, win the battle faster. Plus it does damage to him, so it works out all the way around. And down goes Pain. There's not a lot of backstory given on Pain and Agony, just that they exist, and they're servants of the Dark God of Destruction, who's trying to destroy the world. You have Rog. Again, just the more I have the chance to beat up, the better. This castle's actually full of enemy commanders who can't be defeated by the AI. If other NPCs attack that castle, they will automatically lose. Well, it's only 20 samurai, so I'll still send it. 19. We are getting there with a very nice pace. So the backbone of this, and the reason why this will work out for me, is that they are going to join me based on Gangos' level, the other members of the Dragon Force. So I'll have them at good levels for the end game. In an easy enough time ahead. That's Wind Dancer. It's one of a few spells that are like that. It's kind of random in how much damage it'll do, but it does best against a tight group of enemies like I had. So it's pretty effective against me, but I can refill troops so easily that we're not worried about it. We just want to keep that experienced gravy train going. Did I have anybody I was worried about? I don't think so. Well, she would actually be good. Okay, we're fine. It's fine. It just would have been one more person to fortify this castle, which you can see is already down to 9. Alright, so she didn't succeed in leveling up the castle, but she did fill up my recruitment reserves, so not a bad second place. Can't really deploy anything at that point. You've got 2, but you've got no generals. I think I can still make that work. As much as possible, I want to send them generally one Gangos at a time, basically. I don't want to have to use somebody other than Gangos if I can avoid it, which is why I'm adapting this strategy as I go. Gonna go ahead and hit you with Skydriver because that'll do so much damage. This is gonna hurt. So that's gonna eat up a lot of troops. I won't lose, but it's just annoying. And he's another one of those. They're a generic general, if you will, in that they're just there to fill the role of a mage commander, but they're given some extra depth, just to add some more dimension and color to the game. Now, the theory of the game is that you're going to recruit people, have them join your army, you're going to spread out, you're going to take over more and more of the world. And, I'm just taking an easier approach to this. Okay, that's going to be alright if you run into each other. Not great, but alright. Okay, I didn't want to see that. So now you're ignoring my orders. I don't want you ignoring my orders. Alright, what else can we send? That's all for right now. Good, I wanted to do the monks first. Raid formation is very popular today for some reason. Levan is defeated. And he is a generic monk, not one of the ones that was given any kind of story to make him unique or anything. He's just there. Felicia likewise for the mages. Now, she will not have Holy Shield, but she can do that, one of the twirling elements. It can be water, air, fire. Hers is wind, so it's Wind Dancer. But now with that out of the way, we can proceed to attack. While that spell animation is going on, mages still attack, so it's annoying to try and, well, you just have to sit there as your troop numbers dwindle. Which is very unfortunate. This is going to be an easy win. Oh, also, because I'm defending a castle, I'm getting stat bonuses. So I have an advantage of that on top of everything else that I'm doing to give myself an advantage. It makes all these fights very safe. Also, my level is just ridiculous for as quote-unquote early in the game as we are. And that takes care of Felicia. The sprites used do tell you what their spell lineup is, typically. And then if they have a unique sprite, it tells you that they have a different set than normal. Unfortunately, these guys are going to have lost a lot of troops because of the fighting. Like, all of them. But it'll still be a win. I'll take it. Send in the full army. Menuing has some shortcuts that I'm doing, is why it's not moving one-to-one. You can use the L and R buttons on the controller to move to the beginning or end of the list, respectively. Also, as far as that spell menu goes, XYZ are the three little buttons on the top of the Saturn controller. Clicking one of them while you're in the spell menu auto-selects that same spell slot. So you're using that middle button twice, and it will automatically do the second spell, is why that one's usually really fast to do. Or you can do the spell button, then the confirm button right away to do number 1. Or I can do spell button, R button to go to the end of the list, choose spell number 3. So you can choose your spells really, really quickly for menuing purposes. As you can see, I've got a lot of people here. Alright, looks like she's going to be a difficult one to join, so I'm not going to bother going forward. I'm just going to deal with my 2 castle fortifiers for now. Because we're almost done. We really don't need that much more. Okay, so we increased our recruits again. That's nice. And we're up to 21. Got a little more on the way. Need to add a little more on top of that because I got cheated out of the troops. It's a game I fell in love with from the early days that it was out. A friend of mine had a Saturn, so I would only get to play it if I was over at his house on the weekends. And I just had marathon sessions where I would play 20 hours of this game just to complete the whole thing in one playthrough. The battery on his Sega Saturn died, so he couldn't save anymore. So if you were going to beat the game, you had to do it in one playthrough. So it wasn't really a speed run at that point, because what did I know? And I know so much more about the game now than I did then, and it's very obvious I'll know so much more about the game in a few months than I do now, because we just continue to dive into this and find what works and what doesn't. And the more of those things we find that work, the better off the run will be. Diablo's one of a few funny characters. He has a very low chance to live after a battle. Extremely low chance. In fact, it's more surprising if they live. Those are main commanders plus dragons. I really don't want to deal with that. Hey, there's Skull Children again. Pain and Agony, actually. It can alternate between a 2-party or a 3-party. And I suppose for my purposes it would actually be better to have the 3, but the 2 is easier to kill with just Gongos. Just gonna send in the dragons, give them a chance to do their thing. This one isn't gonna be as effective because I'm on the move, but it'll still be effective, plus there's the damage done by the mages. So I took down a number of my troops, but doesn't matter, we just keep on refilling. And a very important update on the weather, the thunderstorm has ceased because this is Florida. If you don't like the weather, wait 15 minutes. Something Orlando can look forward to. Oh, that defeated Pain and Agony, huh? I really didn't want that. How did you win that fight? I thought you'd have to be a main commander to win that against them. You don't have anything. We've got Presto and Ryle. I could send Presto. I could send Sophie too. Getting very close to the goal. So Diablo is one of a couple of these guys. Saul is the other one who comes to mind. They just have this hidden stat that's extremely low, which makes them very likely to not survive injuries from combat. Theoretically, all but your main generals have a chance of being slain in combat, which is the advantage to having them. That's the monarchs and their 4 officers. This is going a little slow, so we'll go ahead and cross flash to get it done. So generally, a Diablo is one you'll never be able to take prisoner. He'll just say slain in the melee. So the only way to recruit them is to actually find them by searching, which searching can find you items or generals. It's just unnecessary in this run specifically to do that. Up to 23 with Gangos. I think that is going to warrant advancing with Presto. And even though you're samurais, I've got 100 against your 10, so we're okay. It definitely follows kind of a rock, paper, scissors style, so this type of troop is strong against that type of troop. But as far as overall, dragons are the strongest. Naturally, that's why we put them on our primary character. Almost got you. Oh, he's gonna retreat. They will often go for the retreat if their health is in the red. Unfortunately, that's not always what I want them to do, because I don't want one getting into a fight with another. I want all those sweet, sweet troop kills for myself. Hard to keep levels on this castle. If I had 3 to fortify, it would be a lot easier, but we're doing okay. So if we keep pace, we don't need that much more. On offense, that's bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see how that works out. Spoilers, it's not gonna work out. Let my dragons do an initial round of damage, because again, they're strong. Then I'll cross flash to do a little damage over here. And that's gonna be my only spell. Alright, well, let the dragons do their thing. don't have anybody else, really. Okay. Let's start rating you all for experience. They got too much in the way right now. That really limits me. I need him to have a clear shot because I want them to come in with those full troop counts, so I'm getting more experience per fight. This should be a really nice one. Raid formation has been very popular today. Alright. Presto is a pretty strong general. His Thunderfall is not to be taken too lightly. He's a very good one to have on your side if you're doing casual play. He is one of the enemy commanders, so anytime you have one of those, they'll be automatically transported to wherever your monarch is. Since my monarch is the one who caught them, we're able to skip that message, which is a nice little bonus. Okay, Sophie, I need you out of the way. I need this guy out of the way, too. Okay, good. Some generals are better at fortifying than others. I don't have anybody who's great at it. So we're taking what we can get. Alright, so I only need one more level. I think we're in strong position to get it here. These 3 fights, we should be good. About an hour and a half to get to this point, and this has room to optimize a little bit better. I wouldn't be surprised if we can take another 10 minutes off this pretty easily. Holy Shield, that's going to eat up a lot of troops for me, but we'll still be fine. Your castle level won't go to 0, by the way. It'll only go to 1. The biggest detriment to you with a level 1 castle is the maximum number of troops that it can hold in reserve are lower. It has a lowest maximum of 60 for a level 1 castle, so every level higher can host something higher than that, like in this case 120, which is double the minimum. Hey, there's Skull Children again, so I'll definitely have my level off them if nothing else. The reason we're doing this is to a little bit of manipulation of the end bosses. Not the final boss, but the boss leading up to the final. We want to keep their hit points and whatnot at a reasonable level. And being level 25 will do that. Also, the other members of the Dragon Force are going to join based on Gangos' level. So by having him up to a higher level, we get them up to a higher level. She has like Thunderfall and Meteor Storm. I don't think she has Holy Shield, if I'm remembering right. She is one of the odd cases that she's more than a generic mage. She has a little bit different roster and whatnot. Now she has no mages left. She does have flame cannon, but that's not any threat. Okay, perfect. Absolute perfect fight. Did we get our level? We got our level. Okay, won't hurt anything to be higher level. And I'm going to deal with pain and agony this turn instead of waiting until after I trigger everything. Otherwise, they're still going to be attacking, and then I may not be set up right to deal with them. Not that I couldn't, but it's just easier for me this way. Your army's gone. And there's his Shiva's dagger, which is just not a threat to us. A lot of funny animations happen in this game. Obviously, Gangos reacts if he gets hit. Onward we go. Alright, and that deals with pain and agony. Probably get an extra level out of that. Alright, so that completes phase 1 of the strategy. So we're going to debug, and we're going to force domestic. Now, we're going to do event. So, there's a lot of dialogue to click through here. Oh, that's unfortunate, I clicked too fast. So we have to click through these events, people are going to join us. We click through these events. There's like 15 of these or so to click through. There's a lot of storyline advancement here, but we're not that worried about it right now. There's plenty of storyline available. Please enjoy it in a casual playthrough. I strongly recommend it. It's a well put together storyline to hold the whole thing together. I need to get up to 160. We're almost there. And there's my earthquake. Alright, so that's all the events I needed to trigger. This is introducing us now that the members of the Dragon Force have to go to the 3 shrines to gather the items necessary to defeat the Dark God, so we'll have to go around about that. Unfortunately, I have clicked one too far on every one of these. That is something that I can easily clean up. Alright, so we have triggered all of the events we needed to. Now I need to set up a few other things to be ready for them. Clark gets a fake Eclipses. take a Savage Crest. Junin. You need a nastiest statue. Star Dragon Sword. Leon a Samurai Crest. Reinhardt. We have done some very weird things to this game. That's just fine for our purposes. But I'm gonna need another domestic affairs to sort all this out. Now I'm also going to need a lot more troops. Alright, so the world map is going to be very weird here. Alright, somebody deserted. I'm not worried about it. Doesn't matter. Bardol's there. You can enter there. Actually, get out of the way there. I'm going to want a straight shot to that castle that's already set up for me. Okay. Letting everyone else do their thing should work out alright. We're going to go ahead and force another domestic. So Scar gives you a little backstory on Scythe, who was one of the generals for Goldark, basically saying this was a supernatural being of unbelievable strength. I returned from the hospital, that's fine, but not everybody I was looking for. We didn't get the trigger right. Okay. And it appears I have glitched out the game.